What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Guys, today I'm going to talk to you about The Visit. Now, The Visit is something that is a great movie, and you should really watch it. But there's a few problems and a few funny things about it. So right now, if you don't want to hear about it, spoiler alert, I'm telling spoiler. Spoiler. So, I thought that in the trailer there would be a cheesy movie, which it kind of was in a sense, but kind of wasn't. So let's start out with the first night. First night's normal. The grandfather starts saying, "Oh, what a great time! I haven't seen your grandmother this happy in years," and they haven't seen their grandparents at all in their whole life. Neither has the mother in like 10, 15 years. So that's okay. Ow! Spit my lip. And so the first night, she starts, and the kid walks downstairs, and she stops when the grandmother gets there. She's about to go downstairs to check to see what's going on. Then she sees her grandmother. Her grandmother's just throwing up the floor. It's like she just got over a college party, which, don't do that. It's kind of nasty, really. So, then she runs back to the room. Second night, they go and they start to play hide and go seek. And they're playing hide and go seek underneath. And then the grandmother shows up and it gets really creepy. So the girl finally finds a way out while the grandmother's chasing her. Here's where it gets really weird. She says, "Oh, I just made some cupcakes." She goes up the steps and there's a rip in her clothing. And you can see her butt jiggle. It's nasty. But this is where it gets kind of strange. So the kid walks around and he sees his grandfather walk out of the shed. So he goes in there to see what's in there. There's a bunch of old hunting equipment in there with some sticks in there and some tools. And he goes over to this big room and it smells like really bad in there, according to what he says. And there's like this white stuff on like this little barrel. And he goes over there and he lifts it up and it's poop in diapers. It's weird. Poop is in diapers. The dude has a problem. So that night, they go to bed. 9:30, same rule. And the kid has a little bit of a germ problem. He doesn't like germs, so he uses like napkins when he touches stuff that has been touched by other people's hands. So he takes a napkin and turns off the light in the bathroom. The other lights stay on. And the grandmother keeps running up and down. Kids open the door. She runs this way, runs this way, runs back this way, and stops. She gets on all fours and she runs right at the door. They close the door and go to bed. So the kids ask the grandmother about what is up with Grandpa's flatulence. And she says he's really self-conscious about it, so please don't mention it if you can. And they say okay, because they don't want to embarrass their grandfather. So they go on. That night, they get met with a lady at the door who says, "Do you know where your grandparents are?" And they say they went to a store. And the lady says, "Okay, well, they were supposed to volunteer yesterday, and we just were really concerned." And then later, a sheriff comes in and asks where they are, and just to check up on them, and they're not there either, because they're still out shopping. And, yeah. So, that night, the grandmother is clawing on the door. It's weird, right? They close the door and go to bed like it's nothing. This is where the story becomes more dark and sinister. Wait till the end, because that's where it's interesting. So these kids go and they're playing, and they go outside, and their grandfather is nowhere to be found. So they go look for him, and he's up in the barn. And they're trying to make this documentary at the same time while they're doing this. So they're filming everything. They film him, and he's cleaning a gun. And he says, "I was just cleaning it." And so they get suspicious, but they don't really say anything about it. So then they say something weird's going on in this house. And they say nothing more about it till later that night. And the grandmother says, "Would you mind getting in the oven to clean it out?" While the girl's washing the dishes. She doesn't do anything, just cleans it. Just like that. So then, the next day, they set up a camera. So that night, the grandma wakes up and she finds the camera. She does some weird things with it, and she takes a knife up to the children's room and knocks on the door, tries to break it down. She doesn't. She goes right back to bed and done. The next morning, and I believe it's the last night, they call their grandmother. They call their mom, and they say, "Mom, something's wrong. You gotta come get us now." And they're up in the kitchen, and she said they're just old. And she says, "Well, do you know where they're at, so I could talk to them?" And they look at. They show her where they're at, and they're talking to the same lady that came by earlier. And she says, "Oh my God, honey, those aren't your parents. Those are not your grandparents." And they get really scared. And the grandfather comes in and says, "Let's make tonight the best night ever. Why don't we play a game of Yahtzee?" And so they play Yahtzee. And they're playing. And the grandfather has a little bit of a problem. The diaper thing. So he gets up and goes to throw it away. The grandmother, it's the 9:30. Getting there. It's getting to 9:30. So she starts to eat these powdered cookies, I guess is what they are. And she looks at the camera and she says, "Yahtzee!" Like that. Her face covered, and then she takes the pose like this. Grandfather takes her up to the room. And he goes, takes her up there. And they open the door because they're trying to get out. They're trying to really leave this house like right now. And so there is the girl looks outside the window. And there's the lady who was asking earlier about where they were. And she's there hanging dead in the yard. And she gets caught. Grandfather shuts the door, knocks the kid out for a little bit, and takes the girl up to where the grandmother is. Well, the supposed grandmother. And locks her in there. And this is where it's weird. So they fight, and the little girl gets thrown downstairs. And she finds a jacket that her actual grandfather had, with a bloody hammer. And 2 days before they were supposed to arrive, they got killed. Sad thing. And the little kid's just there frightened. and he doesn't move. So the old man takes the diapers. And remember, this kid has a germ problem, has poop everywhere, and puts it on his face. And he just stays there. And he doesn't move, and it falls down. All of a sudden, the kid gets like a football rage and hits the crap out of this old man. And I mean, just hits him twice, 3 times. Because he's about to kill his sister. And he opens the refrigerator door and just slams it like... Kills the dude. The police show up, and there's his mom. And that's basically the end of the movie. Out of my points of 10, I'd give it a solid... I give it a solid 7.1. It was good in places it needed to be, but bad in places that it should have been good in. Though for The Visit, I wouldn't buy it on Blu-ray, but it's a pretty good movie. You should watch it. Don't be afraid to subscribe, and as always, have a nice day.